We're
We're
live.
live. Okay, let's hang out just for a couple minutes so that
Cool.
people can come find us and join.
Awesome.
And
Let me make
then
sure I set links places.
I know you put one in the group because I checked.
It's the only place that I'm worried about. The only person I care about is our group.
You did share it in there.
Good. Good. Okay, so I think today's a big deal. Do you think today's a big deal? Are you like, it's whatever, Hannah?
I think it's I think it's a big deal. Like I feel like the content that we're gonna demonstrate is a big deal. Like the feature makes a difference. But I feel like in terms of like after you know it exists, then the rest of the content is maybe just like maybe gets techie or like may or may not be as interesting as like actually getting to build blocks that you want to see. So that being said, I have some stuff planned for today, but it might only take like an hour. Um, and so people were sharing their category pages they liked. So of course we can build some of those blocks or talk about how to build some of those blocks. And I built some new blocks. I don't know if you saw them yet, Hannah.
Haven't.
I did get a
I'm
couple
very
in.
busy uploading AI photos. Psychedelic pot roast, that's me. When you see it, you'll know.
I hope we see that today. I hope we come
Me
across it.
too. I'm gonna need that to happen. Like you're gonna have to force it.
Okay. Do we want to do like a little roll call? Like Laura says she's here. Hey
Yes.
Laura.
Hi, Laura. She's so scared that I'm gonna be like, oh, Laura's not here again.
She's got to announce herself early now.
Yes. Yes. You are the reason we now want a roll call. If anyone else is here, please wave or say hello in the chat. Hi, Jessica.
Jessica made it.
You're not losing soccer today?
Give her boys a break.
I know, I know. I would be bitter, very salty if it were my girls in softball. That starts very soon.
Would you? I feel like
It depends. If it's a tournament, then I'm just thankful to not have to stay there. Kathy, you're here.
yes, I got so excited. Okay, Kathy, we showed your site yesterday.
Yes.
So it's very exciting to see you here today. Okay. Well, Christopher and Eden aren't here. I mean, points against both of them.
So it was Eden that requested Kathy's site, right? And I was like, oh, you don't
Yes.
know, but Lauren is besties with Kathy.
In
So
fact, I'm
exciting.
wearing a shirt that, wait, where is it? Kathy and I. Okay, we technically don't have this matching shirt. She has it with her husband, and then I also bought it. So it's kind of like I have a matching shirt with Kathy.
They have this matching shirt thing.
Actually, I think I have this thing where I want everyone to have matching outfits with me. And everyone is mostly Kathy, her family, and then Hannah's kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hannah, I have never asked you, but I think it's
You've
because you would
never
say no.
I would, but you've never asked me. That's the thought that counts.
I
Hi,
think you would say
Christopher.
no. Because yes, Kathy and I, we think we're 12. We have lots of matching stuff. Okay, I think let's get started. Thanks for checking in, guys, and saying hi. It's actually really nice to know who's here because like we can't tell.
Yeah.
So it's really good to hear from you guys. Um, Here is what's going to happen. I can kind of go over the agenda for today, what I have planned. And then, of course, as always, we'll get to the end of it and we'll wing it and we'll do whatever you guys want. So make a list of things that you want to ask, or you can ask things whenever, but that you want to see. Okay, so I'm going to go over like the history of category pages and how they've kind of evolved because I feel like that adds some necessary context. I'll try and keep it short because Hannah doesn't have patience for that kind of stuff. And then we'll actually like look at the editor and I'll show you how category pages work with any block theme, not just with the one that we're creating, but that's going to be the one you use. So that's what matters. And we'll kind of look at like the difference between creating like a generic catch-all category archive, how you can create specific landing pages for individual archive like categories, and then how we can do that exact same thing for lots of other different types of post content. So it'll be a little techy, but I don't think it'll be too bad. When Hannah starts cringing, I got a second monitor today so I can watch Hannah's face today, and when she starts cringing, guys, I'll know that I have to move on.
She'll start to
Okay.
backpedal a little bit. Get out
Yeah.
of there fast.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, you guys are in my second screen. So when I look over here, I'm now looking at you guys. But I'm going to share my screen. Unless, Hannah, there's anything that you want to say before I dive into techie things.
Eden's here. Oh, and things that I want to see today, you got to dance on the live stream. That's all. You said that
I
people
have to
can make
dance.
a list of what they want to see. This is our last item on the agenda. Just throw it in the private chat. Prepare yourself.
I danced the other day. I did Hannah's dance the other day. It's fine. Okay. All right, we're screen sharing. I'm going to start by showing you guys the new blocks I made because I love them.
Are you going to apologize about removing Cosmopolitan?
No, look, I made you sort of kind of a logo.
Thanks, Boo.
Thanks, Boo. It's literally just text. You're so welcome. All right, I started making some new blocks and they're fun and you guys are going to like them because I say so. Started this one. We're going to do fun stuff with it later, I think. We can obviously change colors there, but then we never did the icon, like some different icon ones. So I created icons. You can see I reused some of this from what we did yesterday at the end, which I kind of liked because I feel like it pulls it together. And then if we look at this on mobile, you can see that this one scrolls on mobile, but it looked like full content on desktop. And I haven't done some of these on mobile yet, so don't look at these two on mobile. But I made this little text section that I thought would look really good for landing pages because we've done a lot of blog stuff. And then this one, also text heavy, but I thought this could work well for landing pages or blogs. So fun new blocks. I have pulled up new ones that you guys like, so we have more stuff we can create soon. All right, you guys ready for a history lesson?
No.
Too bad. Okay, I'm going to show you guys how category pages have evolved. First of all, they started like this. They were like literally just posts by category. And so this is one of Becky's sites. Almost every single category page on her site does not look like this one. I had to search really hard and I found this one unbuilt out category page. This is her footer now. That's just her footer stuff. But like this is the category page, just posts. That's how everything started. And then we wanted to create more like guided content for users. So we started adding landing content to category pages. So we've got like the category title and description up here still, but then instead of going directly into just like most recent posts in that category, we can kind of guide them through top performing posts here, give them like a subsection of categories. So these are going to be, well, I mean, it's already the site, but these are both the category 10 ingredients or less and their chicken recipes. Spoiler alert, that's just her site. And then we go into all like everything. And so in order to do something like this, Eden, yay, I love that you love everything. So in order to like create something like this, the first way that I did this was we added settings into a category edit page. And so you could add in like this part of the page should look familiar to you. You create a category, it has a name, a slug. You can add a description if you want. If you're on Genesis, it has like additional category settings. But then we added in these new items. And what it meant was like you could build out a whole bunch of content if you wanted, but it had to be very specific type. Like it followed a design. It could only go in one order. You were limited to the amount of whatever you could add. And so you can see in this 10 ingredients or less example, she's got content filled out and it's just like options, but you can't change the way anything looks.
Which was my worst nightmare. I felt like I changed things, but I didn't trust that it was conveying to the right location, so I was constantly cross-referencing if I edited anything on someone's category page, just because
Yeah.
it felt like I was flying blind.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like that. And like this was really hard to maintain. If you wanted to make any changes, it cost a lot of like time and money. Um, just not super fun. Very custom. Took a lot of time and effort. Pretty expensive. Like to do something like this, custom theme. So then we decided, okay, we still want to have a landing page look. So on the front end, you can't really tell that this is going to be managed any differently on the back end, but we wanted this to work with blocks. And with classic themes, the only way you can do that is to essentially like create a different type of content and then connect it to a category. So let me show you how that works. Here, this is Tawny's site, Kroll's Corner, and she has like a custom post type called taxonomy area, and she can set that up. So let me edit these blocks. To use specific blocks, I'll show you how these work in just a second, but essentially she can say like, okay, I want to add or rearrange these blocks. I just have like a lot more control. I can visually see something that's more similar to how it's going to end up looking. And it's got kind of a list view where I can like rearrange things if I want. But the downside here is twofold. One, these are what I call like legacy blocks. They still have those type of options that you saw on the category page previously. Like you've seen how we've been editing blocks and how we like add space or like change it from 9 posts to 6 posts or something like that. So not possible with these blocks. So that's kind of a downside. The other downside is you still would have to go into your category and then like connect it to your landing page. So she would have to say, go into her, edit her American category, and then say, hey, I've made an American landing page. You could sometimes do that depending on how this works. You could do it in the sidebar here, but like they were separate and you had to connect them. And there was still a lot of clicking to like test what it looked like and everything. I had one other, there was one other way you could do stuff, and I don't have an example of it because I haven't worked with those clients, but essentially you could always come in and basically create a new page. So I could say like new page, I could just call this like American recipes, add in whatever blocks I wanted. But then if I went to, I would have 2 pages on my site called American recipes. Like if I go to categories, so I'm going to publish this so we can see it. And then let's pretend appetizers is American. I would have a page called American recipes, and then I would have a category called American recipes. And so I'd have to do like a redirect or something in order to get people from the archive page to the manual page. And so also not ideal. But good news, I'm going to show you now how you don't have to hack any of this stuff. We're not going to save any of those things. And instead, we're going to come in here to edit site, which we've seen a little bit before. So I know we've looked at edit site previously, and we've specifically looked at like the header footer and how you can change things site-wide by using this. But we can also come in here to templates, and just to show you, if you originally came into the site editor, this is what it would look like. You would just click into templates, and then we can control like literally every page on our site through here. I don't know if it looks intimidating to like start out. You can maybe answer that, Hannah, but it is easy.
Once I understood it, but it definitely intimidating. I'm scared to mess up the pages site-wide. So understanding how this works is critical. The fact that we have an entire day dedicated to templates actually makes me feel better because I still feel intimidated just hopping into this part of a site.
Okay, that's good to know. So I'm going to show you how this kind of works. We're going to look specifically at categories, and then we will probably look at some other examples. I want to pull up an example. We're going to go back to that appetizers category that I closed, and I was like, I don't need this, but I do. Or here, let's do, so I like that this has 12. 30-minute meals. This is what it looks like by default. There's Hannah's AI images that she was really happy with. Psychedelic beef stew.
There's a third somewhere.
There is a third somewhere. Everything looks cartoon.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're on 30-minute meals. This is what the category page looks like by default. And I'm going to start off by showing us how we can make all category pages look a little bit nicer, which again, that's a template I'll build, but we'll do it a little bit here so you can just see how that works. And then I will show you how we can build out landing content for individual categories. So you are inside of the site editor, you've gone into templates, and in here I'll just go through these templates real quick. This is the blank template that removes the header and footer. We talked about like how you swap template and you can change the layout. So this is one that like I would just choose on any given page. But here's like this index is like, that's the default category look. So this is the one we're going to end up editing just as like our basis, and it's going to set the stage for all archives on the page. Landing, 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 landing. Those are all the selected ones that we've gone over previously. If you want to customize your 404 page, you come in here. Anytime someone hits, not found content, it'll look like whatever you've set up in this template. Single entries. This is like an individual post. So this would be your actual recipe pages. So you'll see, we'll go in and edit this later. And then with sidebar, this is another template for like if you want to create a page on your site that has a sidebar. And I actually had a client ask me recently like how they get that to work. So now you can just like add a sidebar, but we set everything to be without a sidebar by default these days. Okay, so we're going to start with this index. I know it's not called category, and the reason for that is like it's going to show up if someone's going to a category, a tag, an author archive, if they're searching for something, if they're viewing by date, any of those that like show posts by default, they're going to this index. And so what I basically want to do is I just want to make this look pretty so that wherever they go, it looks similar to the rest of our site. So I'm going to quickly come in and kind of change this out. All right, we'll just change this. You know what we don't have is a description for our category. Throw that in here. Our loop, we've been using portrait images, so I want to go ahead and change that. These will be portrait. They do have that border radius, so I'm good there, but our titles, because these are in H2. I don't love the titles. We might change those later, but I want to copy them from the blocks we already have. It's not showing, like it's showing 10 posts, but we have 12, and I want it to have pagination. So we're going to go to our theme settings. Reading. This is one of the few settings I think that is not in the block editor yet. Actually, let me change this to 8 so it just views a little better for us. And then just like that, our archive page has like a full width header along the top. Our posts are portrait again. Our titles look goofy, but Lauren's going to fix those later. The purpose of this is essentially you can see like you change that one template and it's going to work everywhere. Let's also test that. Ooh, don't like this moving down on the bottom there. We'll have to fix that. So our search results also look like this. If I look at content by date, don't have date archives, but here you can see our 404 that we could customize separately. So that's like the intro to categories. That's the starting point, because remember, we were looking at 30-minute meals.
Okay.
They look nice now. But now we don't want 30-minute meals to look like this. We want it to look cuter than this. And we want to have a lot of landing content on it so that they have to like scroll to get to the bottom, right? So let's look at how we do that.
My images are so bad, guys.
They're
Can't even
bothering
say
you
that
now.
things look cute because I'm just so attacked. Having a hard time
What's
focusing.
bothering you today. Okay, so we already have like an index and this does all categories, but let's say that we wanted our, nope, I'm going to do that later. Let's just focus on one category. I just want to do the 30-minute meals category. I'm going to click up here to add new template. And these are all the different types of templates I can create. I want to specifically find a category template and edit that. So I'm going to click on category archives. This is going to make it seem like it might edit all of your categories at once. But when you click into it, you can decide which one you want. You can either have it do all of my categories are going to look different from that index. I'm going to create a new template for it. Or I want to make a category specifically for one item. And that's what we're going to do in this case. 30-minute meals, thankfully right at the top. Otherwise, I would search for it. And then right now, this is kind of like a spoiler alert, guys. We're going to talk about starting patterns another day. This is essentially a starting pattern. But we could have like 6 options here of different, I mean, it's so easy. Patterns that you can just like fill in the content for. This one, just the default index that we're duplicating. And then from here, I think the only important things to know is 1, you want to keep everything inside of this group. Nothing's going to fail if you don't. Just it's better if you do. And I'll leave it at that.
I've not followed that rule.
All right, we'll try and put everything inside of this group.
I will be checking a client side tonight.
Oh, my sweet baby girl.
I know.
It's not a problem if you don't, but just like you guys know that I talk about accessibility and I care about like semantic HTML and like things that it's not going to not work and Google's not going to care.
It looks fine.
Yeah. And it reads fine. It reads fine for clients and it reads fine for Google. But like it would be ideal if you put everything in here for reasons that are techie. So throw them in here. Remember that everything purple is going to change everywhere. So if you edit something in a purple area, even on one template, it's going to change it on all of your templates. Purple means that it's synced. So if I come in here and I just decrease the spacing because it has a lot right now and I want it to be just like smaller. Let's look at a different category. Oh, I hate myself for this. Posts, categories. Even though we made that change specifically on 30-minute meals, it's also showing up on Air Fryer. So it's in both of those locations. So it is important to know that anything you do is going inside of purple is going to happen everywhere. If you don't want it to happen everywhere, you need to click detach and it keeps it looking the way you want it, but it's just no longer in that synced pattern. It's now standalone. All right, I don't want to do that, but I do want to show you guys that from here, I'm pressing enter, choosing a new block, and then literally any of these blocks that we've created. And remember, you'll be able to use the pattern inserter, but for now, we're copy pasting them. Can just be added into my category page. This is where we see if Lauren's patterns have any bugs. Ooh, they look pretty good so far.
No bugs. You're perfect.
Hold, I think I saw one. This one. This one. Right. I'll fix that. This is why we run tests. So essentially, like, this is now a category landing page. I know you guys thought this was gonna take up a lot of time, and we were gonna learn complicated things. But we
Okay,
just
but we
inserted
would need to
patterns.
edit. There's one manual block at the top. And then you'd probably want to manually do like the top 3 recipes, right? Because it's not a query loop, those top 4. But then the query loops are
Yeah,
easy enough to just swap out. So like,
yeah,
making sure the content
you
is
do
right.
have to edit you'd have to edit all of the content. But in
Yeah.
terms of, like, making a landing page for a category, once you get into this template editor, it works like everything else on your page, on your site. It works like creating a page, it works like creating a post. So looks great, so quick, see you tomorrow.
Christopher, you have my heart.
Yeah. I really do think it's, like, just so easy and nice, and then I'm gonna refresh air fryer, nothing happened here. So, we did just edit the template for that one category, and all of your categories can have custom landing content now. You do have to edit the content. It doesn't, like, automatically update, like, pull query loops and say, "Oh, now I'm in a new place, magically fill these out." You have to go in and change all of that stuff manually.
But
But
still,
in
the
terms of
query
just,
loops
like
are so
yeah, the
fast.
creation of it, very easy.
Mhm. And you're gonna make a
Okay.
starting pattern for us, right?
Yes, we will have starting patterns.
Thanks.
I'll probably need feedback from you guys on that, but we have a whole day dedicated to patterns and starting patterns. So I'll show you how to use them. And then we'll probably just talk about which ones we want on that day. Yeah. Let me look at my notes real quick.
You don't wanna scroll
Site
up and let
editor.
us see your, separator lines where you change the colors?
I
They look
did
so
fix the
good.
colors.
Great job.
Little things. Thank you for noticing.
I try.
All right, we did category archives. We did a specific category. I'm going to show you guys how we can do that for all kinds of stuff.
Cool.
So let's go back to our template editor. That's not it. Let's close that. Let's try again. Okay, we're in this template editor. We can do this for so many things. So in addition to doing it for individual categories, we can also do it for tags. So if you have a site that you use tags on, actually side rant, categories and tags are completely the same thing. If you use categories, you don't have to use tags. If you use tags, you don't have to use categories. If you use both, it doesn't matter. The main point is probably just not to have a billion tags that have only one post in them. Categories have hierarchy, tags do not. I get
Are
a
you
lot of
going to
questions
be
about
smote by an SEO for saying all of this? I'm concerned for you. You're like, "No, it doesn't matter. Categories have hierarchy.
No.
That's all that matters."
I think SEOs know that, but not over, but they simplify it further into just use categories, don't use tags.
Mm.
Like, no index your tags because you don't need them because you could just use categories. And a lot of people used to use tags for like everything under the sun. So a post might have 100 tags, and one of the tags would be like, you know, banana bread made with brown sugar, and they'd have no other posts with that tag because it was hyper specific. Lauren knows her stuff. How long have you been waiting for me to see this?
Not long.
Okay, good. Okay, so
This cat.
anyway, we can do it with tags, and then we can do it with our author archives, and then I'm actually going to show you how we can do it with product links in a second. Cool. I'm going to show you. Well, actually, we're going to have to check and see if we have any content for that, but this will be a little sneak peek for Small Plugins Day. Okay, author archives. Let me say something about author archives. This is something that actually I would love for more of the food blogging and like just blogging community in general to use, is to create author archive pages and use those for your about page. Let me show you what I mean. So this is our demo user, whatever, and I can go and view a page for this user to see like what are all the posts they wrote. And it has my not pretty username, so we can use a plugin and we can fix that. Don't worry about it. But instead of having like everything go to About Me, which I don't have an About Me page, we can actually just have it go to this page that already exists on our page, on our site, lists all of our posts, which by the way, ooh, I gotta get sidetracked in a second. We'll come back. We'll come back. Already goes to all of our posts, and we can build it out like a landing page. And the reason I would love for people to do this is because one, we're not having to create another page that already exists that we're essentially creating just for the purpose of making it a landing page. Like you could do a team page, but like that team page could link to individual author pages, and those already exist. And if you have ever had issues where you have your recipe card and it says it goes to your user archive page instead of going to your about page, and you have to try and figure out how to get it to go to your about page, now you don't have to. Same thing at the top of the post if there's an author listed, which I don't think we have. Okay, so we do. This link right here also goes to your author archive, not to like a custom about page. And there is no way to have this particular link go to your author about page. I mean, recipe cards have built in like a workaround for it, but and like otherwise, normally people have plugins or like custom code that hack it to go to a custom link. But if you actually have multiple authors on your site, this is going to be your jam.
Convenient, I think.
Yeah. It does kind of like, I understand why we create custom pages for all these things. We created custom pages for categories. We create them for authors. Like we were creating content with the only available options that there were. But now that there are like block themes and WordPress has given us complete control over those templates without needing a developer, if we could get people to use this, like so many of the silly things that SEOs want, like make sure your recipe card links to your about page, like they just work now. We don't need extra settings for them. We can hack less. Okay, I realized that this category just has all these sections and then it randomly goes into recent posts and there's no header here. And it's just like, it's offending me and we need to go put in a title. We have to go all the way down here. We're going to fix this too. This is, this one is fixed by literally just adding it into a group. And then we're going to put in a title. And it also has to go inside of a group that says all 30-minute meals. Did you guys also feel offended by that?
You're the only one that has a problem with loud typing.
Oh, I meant offended by.
Oh, the not having
offended by not having the title here.
Well, I think it was more of like that block and how close it was for me.
Okay, well now it's further. I feel like it needs to be a little further, but I don't need to do that on this video, I guess. We're gonna do a shop. I feel like we're on the edge of boring stuff. We're almost through it, and then we might just talk about categories because like I set a whole day aside for this, but it's so easy. Am I minimizing it? It gets easy.
Yeah.
It gets really easy. Okay, let me see what kind of content we have that we can work with while I just like close tabs. Okay, cool. We have shop items. I love this because I don't know where they came from. I asked for them about 30 minutes before this started. Like they have images and everything. This is fabulous. Okay, so it didn't match.
It wasn't me.
Oh, okay.
They do match. It looks great.
Okay, so this shop section is, if you guys have used Shop WP, it's like that, but we create it and we do it better. And so it's essentially just a way to manage affiliate links. So a lot of people have like affiliate shops, and maybe you want that for an actual landing page where people can see like what's in my kitchen. But also we can make blocks with this later. So we can do a query loop and we can say, these are the products we want to recommend. Maybe we'll look at that in a second. That's really fun too.
That one's fun.
But I did want to show you, this is something I planned on doing during the small plugins day, but basically here's a template. This is based on our like default index template, right? That shows index or shop items. And just like with categories, we can create custom templates that make this look nicer. So I'm going to do that in two different ways. One, we're going to start by going to the archive product link, which decided that it was just going to do it for all and not for a specific category. So we're going to come back and figure that out later, but that's okay. What I want to do for this is I want to change these to square, and then I'm going to do contain. So now my images aren't getting cut off. Super cool. Could not do this previously with classic themes. So much nicer now. So I have set these to square because I feel like that's going to be more relevant for this particular case. Set it to contain. I don't want them to have border radius. You can't tell that they do. I just happen to know they do. So I'm going to remove that right now. And
Thanks,
then, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you really cared, Hannah.
Well, the first one was so satisfying. So then for you to do something
Ooh.
that no one can see.
Yeah. Okay. This is really important, actually. Remember how I said if you edit a purple section, it's going to edit everywhere on the site? I was about to mess up everything on the site, and we'd have to click undo. Thankfully, when you go to save things, it's going to tell you, are you sure you want to save what you're trying to save? And I don't want to, no. So I'm going to uncheck default loop. I do not want this to save, because if I did save it, those categories that we just changed would now no longer have the images the way I want them. So this is just updating the shop, which I already had open. So let me refresh this. Oh, you can't tell because I didn't save it. We're going to detach this.
Cool.
So now I can save it. I'm still not going to save the default loop. And because it no longer uses the default loop, these items show the way I styled them. Okay, so reminder, this stuff is going to come with templates. You guys won't have to do this. But if you were to add something in the future, like just knowing that you can, I feel like is half the battle. Like knowing that it's possible, because then you don't know who to ask or what to Google or anything like that. So just like being aware that this stuff is possible puts you so far ahead of the curve. Okay, here's what I want to do. I really wanted this to be an individual category. So I'm just going to copy the code. And then I'm going to see if I can create that individual category now. So I wanted archive, product section archives. Product section archives, yes. For product section. It doesn't matter to me. I know what I did wrong. We're going to go back. Okay, I made a mistake and I don't want this template. And I know, I'm less smooth today. It's killing me. I'm thinking about it and then I'm worrying. If you create a template that you don't want, you can't just leave it. If I actually went to this on the front end, it would say like site missing template and it wouldn't have any of my content. So I need to remember to delete this if I don't want a template. Like don't ever leave a blank template on your site, because then that content will just be missing. Or, you know, just don't make mistakes. Like me. Let me hide this. So I figured out what I did. Archive product link is creating an archive for like all of the latest posts for product links. But I specifically, and I I got confused. I do want to create one that's for the product section archives. So these are the categories for product links.
Okay.
For all of them, not for a specific one. And then you don't have to know how to do this code editor stuff. Don't worry about it. But this is what we just set up. And so now, don't save that. I'm going to refresh this so that doesn't ask me to save the default loop anymore. So shop sections. I go into any of these. Settings, permalinks. Okay, if I go into any of these, they now look like the template we have set up, that's really what I wanted. Okay, I want to show you how on this default like shop page, you can make this a custom template now. And there would be blocks for this and it would be done for you already, but you know, showing you guys here. Inside of this editor,
how we can make our own. Sorry, go ahead.
When I go back to the archive product link, which is the first one we did for clarity, product section archives, I can see how this is very confusing now. I can see how this is very confusing. But some of these are already going to exist for you guys. You're not going to have to create them from scratch. And I think because you're going to be able to edit them, it will be easier for you, I think. If not, we'll have to do some more tutorials to like differentiate things. But I think that will help. Okay. Now, for this page, knowing that this one is specifically for like the landing page for the shop, I actually want to change this query loop and I want to make this whole like, I don't want to have an all post section, I think. You know, this says like all posts. I'm probably just going to make this. I'm probably going to insert one of our existing loops. That's pretty. Let me go find one. And we're going to edit it for products. And this is actually all blocks. This is actually how we'll create blocks that you can use inside of a post that list affiliate links. Like, even though we're creating it on this special template, it's going to work exactly the same if I were to insert it into a post.
I would love to know just the difference once someone implements a block like that. Like, are you making more money, or how are your affiliate sales going? Like, I think it's harder now than it used to be to make money with affiliates, but I would still be interested to see. The shop this post block is just my favorite one to throw into a post.
Okay. What I've done, I'm going to delete this all post section. It says, be careful, don't do it. I'm going to do it anyway. And instead I'm adding in these loops. Let me show you what they look like. Oops, it's not the right place anymore. I keep closing all of the tabs I need, guys. Okay, so now my shop page doesn't have any shop content. We're going to fix that. But you can see that I'm able to create more of a landing page for this shop. Like, maybe once they get into a category, I don't really care. That's okay for it to be an archive, like regular archive. But if they go to my shop, I want them to be able to see sections by category, that sort of thing. So here inside of my query loop, and we've talked about this over 2 days now, how useful query loops are. Essentially, here where it says post, we're going to change that to product link. And then it's going to pull in recent content. And I have to restyle this again, because remember, we made it square, we removed job shadows, we removed border radius, etc. We are going to restyle these in a second, but basically product link. And then I would go into filters, and I'm going to filter it by, I don't even remember what categories we had, but this one will be ingredients.
That looks really nice.
Yeah, it like just pulls in these product items for you. See 0, drop shadow, none. We're going to just look at the first one. Pretty. So see more latest. I mean, this is manual at that point. So see all ingredients I recommend. And then I would link that to the category for that shop section. And that's pretty much it. So I won't harp on this part anymore. But hopefully what I have shown is that categories, tags, author pages, custom post types, like all of them are managed through this template editor. And then you just insert the same blocks you would insert everywhere else. I do think, I mean, I'll create specific versions of this block for products so that it at least pulls in your latest products. But you will have to be familiar with this query loop, which is fine in my opinion, because
He's your
this is
bestie.
gonna be- yeah, he's your best friend. You're going to use him all over your site.
Yeah.
So if you don't get him at first, you're going to figure him out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do the other ones, but we would make these shop items as well. They'd be cute. I don't normally do background colors for shop items because you don't often get a transparent image. So when I do this, I'll probably make it like the same section, but it'll just have like a pink border along the top and bottom, and the background will be white. Something along those lines. Or I would just use this first one on repeat, but between them, I would add a separator. I'm not going to do that, so don't worry about it. But yeah.
Cool.
Okay. I think I have talked about how to get there and how to edit things and what to do with categories. Any questions before we just play with categories? I'm going to close that one. I'll need it later.
You always need it later.
I do.
And if no questions, then what do you want to see?
Okay, while we wait for questions and requests, I can share what I would want to do for the rest of the time. Honestly, I feel like I made that longer than it needed to be. Sorry, guys.
We're so fast.
Was I?
Yes. Don't
I think I was
apologize.
a little-
You did great.
I think I was a little nervous that it was like too boring and that nobody would want to see this particular one.
No. it's-
Especially after I was like, you do this, and then you just insert blocks.
That's the fun part.
So, ooh, cool, Jessica. I'll answer your question in a second. To kind of propose what I think we could do next, I pulled up, I think both Jessica and Eden went in and shared some category pages that they like. And so I thought we could kind of walk through them and talk about how we would create some of those blocks, or like this recipe index, I feel like is probably relevant to talk about today with categories, and go over some of that stuff. And I kind of would just wing that. So that would all be really casual. So maybe we would just do more conversational stuff for that. It goes into blocks, which I know we've done a lot of, but they're just so interesting.
It's the best part.
I have some stuff I wanted to say about like the I call these archive headings or archive intro or something. I think it's whatever it's called in the template as well. So I had some stuff I was going to say about that. Okay, let me answer Jessica's question and then.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Eden was talking about the comments on this. Yay, Eden loves blocks.
Thanks, Eden.
Okay. So shop products. Once you put in the affiliate links, that changes them across the site. Yes, it does. So I'll probably do a tour of a bunch of these plugins that we created specifically on the last day, since that theme is like small plugins and that's the sister brand. Literally created that because as I was doing stuff with block themes, there were features that like either didn't exist or they existed for like the old classic themes. And so we just like have been building up a catalog of like missing pieces. When they Hannah go.
There are 19 small plugins. By the end of it, we're gonna have like 200. Choose your features.
I have been trying to slow down on those or deciding like we don't need this. But
You like
won't go too
pizzazz.
far
You've
into
been
it.
a custom coder for
I
too
like
long. And
yeah, some of the stuff I did custom I couldn't do anymore.
Mhm. It's cool.
So I'm
Okay.
gonna talk about those things.
Yeah.
Okay. Shop products. These again, I'll go over these another day, but you create a new one and then you can add a title. I would usually recommend this be like a short description or you leave it blank. And then you're going to set your featured image. That's, the product itself and list a product link here. So this is normally like your Amazon affiliate link. You can organize them into sections. I recommend that because you're probably going to have a lot because even if you're not planning on using them for that page template that I just showed you guys, they can display there. So you can have that page template, even though we're probably going to add these because we want to put them inside of our posts. So if I go back, here's one that's filled out. It's got a title. It's got that featured image. Here's its product link. And then it is added to a section. Because we're querying this post type, like whenever you link this in a post, it's going to be attached to this particular like item. So if I say that I recommend this grill press, the mug set, and the kitchen scale, and then I come in here and I say, actually, I hate cast iron grill presses, and I recommend this other one, and I update it, like all of my blocks now are going to have that new information. And so I can easily, I feel like I have to fix this. Someone put some effort into that. I can easily change that, and I can change out the image as well. So I can come in here and I can say, this is a cast iron one, but I recommend a non-cast iron grill press now, as one does.
Very handy when you're breaking up with brands.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like something goes out of stock or you're like, here's what I use. And then you buy something new and you want to say, this is what I use. Yeah. So you could create a new item and change the old one to say like my old grill press and then have like your new one. Like if you want to retain that for some reason, maybe it's relevant to your recipes because your new one is so different. But yeah, if you're switching, just brands and the features are pretty much otherwise all the same, very, very easy. You don't have to go in and change out everything in your site. Now it is still like manual-esque in the sense that just like when we were editing, maybe I'll just edit this as an example. When we were editing the shop archive, like if you want to select specific items, you're coming into your query loop and you're selecting them from here. So you're either saying show them from a specific category or you're using your plugin to select specific items. And so these would be your products that are listed here. So there is still that like element of manually putting things in. But once you have it set up as a like custom post type, very easy to edit site-wide. Semi-relevant, these don't have a like individual page that you can go to. So if you try and visit the individual page, it just takes you to the shop page. And then everywhere else on your site, what your users see, they would never accidentally get to that individual page. If you look at my bottom left here, it shows the affiliate link. So it's always going to go to that affiliate link directly. And that's the shop.
Yay. Jessica, did that answer your question?
She said it's so cool. She obviously loves it.
I mean, yes.
Who wouldn't? Okay, I love the shop thing. We have one that we use on Kathy's site. So on Lemon Blossoms, we use exclusives. And that's probably too advanced to go over today. But it works essentially the same way. It's just a custom post type. It is just a custom post type, and then you can create templates so that it looks the way you want it to. This one doesn't like link to external pages, but we have it like kind of paywalled, and it uses automatic block consider. It's more complicated. Okay, let's look at categories. I have this open so that I can look at the comments that were in here. Okay, so section from Pinch of Yum. I think that was, maybe that was on the homepage and I ended up going to a category. We can look at the screenshot for this particular one. We can do this. Actually, I'll say there is something that's a little bit hard about it. So we can create a block like this, and we would do it probably with a query loop, and then you can pick out which recipes you want here. I honestly don't put star ratings up a lot anymore because they're always 5 stars. Like, you're not choosing recipe index. Yeah, you're not usually going to go in and choose recipes that aren't 5 stars. Her lowest one here is 4.6, and like, I don't know. So I personally don't do a lot of star ratings on this anymore. I would probably do just the comment count. And then I would add something else that's more useful, or like I would just manually put in 5 stars, because then it's not having to get any information from your database. It's just pulling 5 images or 5 emojis, whatever. So I wouldn't recommend this, but I would do the reviews. And if you want the stars there just because the section itself speaks to them being top rated, I would just manually put stars in.
Yeah.
I wouldn't actually pull them for performance reasons. Nerding out a little bit, I wouldn't pull them from the recipe. I have had some issues with getting specific information from recipe cards, and I've been in contact with Brett from WP Recipe Maker about that. So we may not be able to do everything we want if we want to demonstrate like total time for a recipe or something like that. We'll have to see what's currently possible. But he and I have spoken about that, and I know that it's something that we're hoping to get fixed. Okay, so we can definitely create one of these. That'll be fun. Not gonna let me click through there. Okay, category explanation at the top, really like rounded edges, and then circles pull your eyes to most popular, then squares, and that was fork to spoon. So I might go in, and if we want, we'll build this type of thing that goes at the top. Do I want to? We'll see.
That's a fierce drop shadow.
We probably wouldn't build it like that because we only put drop shadows around our images because we're trying really hard to have a strong brand. I don't know why am I whispering everything today? I've done it like 12 times now, so it's just like how I talk.
At least you didn't refer to Figma again. Although that might have been what I was aiming for.
I definitely have the Figma. See? Look, I've been working on it.
I mean the part where you're like, Hannah, no.
Hannah, did you even read the Figma? Read the Figma, Hannah. Okay, so we will have to create a block for this, and we can do that. So this part, pretty easy. We've already got some circles. I believe we have circles with images, and we even added a 6 circle version. And then this is essentially like, this is their explore all. So like that's the end of their customization right here is these 2 blocks. And then this is just the rest of it. But we could add in, don't hate. We would be able to add in like a whole lot more sections if we wanted. So we pretty much have this one, and we need to create one up top here. This would pull in automatically the title and description. You don't even have to write this. You can, if you prefer to, write it here. It really doesn't make a difference, but you can pull this automatically and then just like choose each image by category. Okay, little category explanations. Narrow your search. I wanted to talk about that one. Subsections, linking to ebooks and making them stand out. Yeah, I feel like this one was longer, and it was a better example of kind of what we did with 30-minute meals, which I know we didn't actually fill in real content, but like you can make it as long as you want. And you can have like your bio on there if you want, or you can do like Kathy's. Remember, we looked at hers and it has like time or difficulty. You could have sections for that, a featured video. And so this one kind of demonstrates that as well. So it has this title, custom description, and image. We'll build something like that. And other than this narrow your search, which I'll come back to, everything else here is blocks. And then it's just the job of making those blocks, which you guys tell me which ones you want and I'll do. Side note. Side said. Yeah, exactly. We have a video feature. We have these featured items here. We don't have any overlay ones right now, but I do believe that we have that on our to-do list because Jessica had requested some. So like we could pretty much make this. Let's talk about this narrow your search. So we're going to get this very last one, I believe, is a recipe index with filters. So we're going to get there, but then it's important to differentiate that from this narrow your search section because this is just a list of subcategories. And so this could be like a plain buttons block. It could be little circles that you do. When it's saying narrow your search, it's not going to like update this page to show you something different on this page. It's just, if you look here in the bottom left again, it's taking you to category / recipe / bread, which is what we're currently on, / yeast breads. So it's like diving deeper. And you can see this one hasn't been built out. So this is her like default category page. So you can do this really easily by adding just buttons. I don't think that there is currently a plugin that will automatically list all subcategories, so you would have to do this manually. But it is one of the plugins in our backlog that I'm not doing because I have too many plugins.
Given that forewarning, we all knew. It's coming. Keep your eyes peeled.
No, don't think it's coming soon. We have other stuff we're working on. And it's just so easy to do with buttons that the reason I haven't done it is because I would just recommend people do it manually.
And you would want to limit it. Like you wouldn't want, you know.
The other thing is like some people have they have very flat hierarchy, so they won't have any subcategories. But they might want to do something like it just is kind of a really niche case because not everyone uses hierarchy for their categories anymore because some SEOs really didn't like category hierarchy for reasons that are now outdated. So it's just like too weirdly specific. Okay, this one's Cookie and Kate. Yeah. Okay, short category explanation. I like Kate's pick, most popular. And then the menu is pretty nifty. I don't think I remember looking at the menu. Okay, Kate's pick here, we could make that. You would manually pick it, but she's manually picking it.
Is that collapsible? Can you click the arrow and it does something fun with it?
That's literally the first thing I did.
Sorry.
And then I hope no one noticed because I felt silly because I was like, of course that's not collapsible, Lauren. All right, let's not use triangles, guys.
Yeah.
Unless it's collapsible. Lauren will try and open it. This is really just like this is like a list item. Like, remember we looked at lists and the small plugin that like allows you to add I did demo that, right? Like you can add an emoji or something. So you could add this icon and then this text, and this is just text with a link. So you wouldn't even have to like, let me show you what that would look like.
On the Feature Fest site, we need to list all of the family members whom I assigned a recipe to. Ryan's pick, Lauren's pick.
List, yeah. Hold link here. For the actual list, this would be right. I mean, this isn't going to be as cute. Don't worry about it. I'm like, I can't stop doing this now. And I
I
like
want to
hate
click
myself
him.
for it.
I still want to click him.
Yeah, because we wouldn't do the arrow. We're just showing that you can do the arrow.
Okay.
Let's make him really small. I said really small. And like a little bold. All right, we did it. It's there now.
So
Let's
easy.
move padding on the left. I don't want any. Whoops, here. Yeah, look how cute that is. So we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's even with pulling in this term description automatically, but I detach this. So now, like I could just write my custom description here and then delete that old one. So just it depends on how you prefer to edit your categories. I feel like writing my description here is ideal because it's all in one place and I don't have to go edit the categories separately to change the description. Also, I don't like having descriptions here when I'm browsing my categories. For some reason I despise it. So I personally would delete all my descriptions. I know it's my flavor of OCD.
Yeah. You went from
want
not
all
liking it to despising it.
I want all the lines to be exactly the same height. Don't make my lines different heights. Did I save this so we can see my
But
custom
if you have your category descriptions already built out, like on a Genesis Classic theme, how does that translate over? Or do you not want to? Oh, Jessica, description isn't important for SEO.
description being here is not important for SEO. Description being at the top of the page in general, helpful. But honestly, if you're doing a description specifically for SEO, you want to be in this SEO section down here. And you're custom writing your description to be a very specific length versus this description probably has links in it. Like this is for the user.
Okay.
So yeah, the description I do think is important for SEO, but this one I think is like more for the user experience and how that impacts SEO. Whereas like your meta description down here with inside of the Yoast options is going to be the other SEO, like the direct Google looking at things. Not that they care less and less about this stuff, but you'll talk to someone about it and they'll care. What was your question, Hannah? I forgot it. Oh, Genesis description.
Yeah.
So if you remember, we looked at the site editor for easy chicken recipes and she had a description, but if you scroll down, she had archive intro and then it had like title description as well. So if you had Genesis in the past, then your description will not by default show up here. You will need a small plugin that we have helpfully created for you.
So
that
nice.
that will look and say, if there's not a description here, like in the default description area, go check and see if they used to use Genesis and pull that description. That's kind of a pain because you can't edit that description. You will have to either like if in the future you want to change it, you will need to either overwrite it here in this description, or you'll just delete the description and write your own in the page. But again, that comes down to if you write the description on the page in the editor or you write it underneath your category, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. What am I talking about? We're looking at this. We made this because we're so good. Should we just add the image in there? It's not going to be perfect, but like
if it's not a psychedelic roast, I don't want it.
Oh, I got you. Done. I want it to be square. I want it to have our shadow and our radius. And then I want it to be over here. Ooh. worry not. We're going to write a longer description.
Too long.
Ah, yeah, I thought that too. I was like, this is going to be too long. It needs work. That should be shorter. And then our columns. I only want to control the size of one of these columns generally. I just set one and then I delete the width of the other one so that it automatically fills the rest of the space. I feel like this image is just giant. Goodness gracious.
It's because it's distracting you. You can make it normal food and see if you
I
feel
mean,
better.
look. I mean, I would refine this, but like,
Yeah.
This is what it could look like.
Cool.
And then it fits a lot of Jessica's, like, has a description, has an image, looks nice up top. We can fill out the rest of the page.
Mhm.
Okay, I did get distracted. What else did we like here? Most popular, and then the menu. I didn't look at the menu. Most popular, again, could use the blocks that we have. If you want the numbers, we'll have to do something a little special for that, but we can make that happen. The menu, cool. So we talked about the, ooh, she has a filter for hers. I don't recommend this in most cases. Should we talk about the filter? Should we come back to the filter? We'll come back to the filter.
You can step up. It's okay.
Let's come back to the filter. Let's just imagine this was like a regular menu. Remember we talked about menus? You could use a menu block on your categories, and I feel like that's a pretty relevant place. So if you're going down, the filter on menu annoys me, actually. Love that. Why no filters? We're going to come back, Kathy. Multiple reasons. But you could do a menu here. So you could do buttons that just go into very specific ones that are really curated. But I have done menus that are like kind of further down so that if like they haven't found what they're looking for and maybe they want to browse to something else, I kind of give them that ability. And so that would look a lot like, and I know I've referenced this menu like 16 times now, but something like this, where you would just insert a menu that then could be viewed on mobile and desktop. This one collapses on mobile. You don't have to collapse yours, but I would probably recommend it. Or I would do something like the scroll one that we've seen. Okay, this one we're gonna. We'll talk about. Hold. Don't drive me crazy. Move it over there for later. Okay, recipe spotlight and subcategories. Recipe spotlight. I like this one too, except for I don't like this white gap there. It hurts my soul. Okay, we've talked about how to do this. You can put breadcrumbs in here. I'll set up an archive header section like this later. The buttons, like for that, you would basically go into what was previously the archive header, click detach, and then add your blocks within it. Very easy. Once you get the hang of it, it gets easier and easier. This will just be a block we create. And honestly, I wanted to show you how we can do that because I think we have one that's already so similar. Maybe I was thinking of that Meet Julie. Where is it? Here, recipe spotlight. Let's start with this one. This one that has the video in it. Let's create that on a category real quick. I will make you a non-video version, or we'll make a new version right now. We'll make this a little bit different. Initially, what I wanted to show you was how like you can take a block that I've set up for something very specific and you can turn it into whatever you want. So like this bio would be a really good example. It doesn't have to be a bio. You could make this into a call to action, and then it could be like, or like this could be for your cookbook, right? So this could be a picture of your cookbook, details about it, like learn more or buy on Amazon, delete social maybe, and then have these as other places you can buy it. Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, Indie,
Amazon.
Yeah, etc. So that's kind of what I was going to get at, but we're going to change this and make it look like similar to that block. What do we have here? So we have columns, we have this with the background. I do not want that to be full width. Beautiful. And then we're going to steal pieces from other areas. We're going to steal this. Recipe spotlight. This is just literally a column. Like, I'm going to change it so that we add an image in here. Okay. And then let's see how that turned out. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd make the image less. I'd make it a little smaller. And then let's do something else as well. So this is 60. I'm going to make it exactly 50. And then let's change this group. Actually, I can get rid of this group. So it had that pink background. But I can just put that directly behind the columns. Mm-hmm. Stretch to fill. Height 100. Let's see if that works or not for Lauren. And then we got to clean up a little bit of spacing. This column, padding. Look how fast I click, guys. Okay, we got to fix our image over here. There's a couple ways I can do that. But again, I feel like it's not worth me doing that on screen to make sure that the image always works. So I'll do that separately. But like, I don't know. We've just turned that into the same type of block we see over here.
In like 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what was the other piece on there? Subcategories below. Oh, yeah, this is I love this because that's so easy. These are all the rows we set up.
We do this.
Yeah, that's the beloved block that you will never get away from. This is your query loop block, and you'll just add it. These ones look all pretty much the same. So they're just all on a white background, but we have the variations that you can create that have colored backgrounds if you prefer to have that kind of like blocking. If I don't block it, sometimes like this white space I think is good, having that white space here. But I also sometimes use separators as needed as well. This is just a full width block. And then this is still manual like blocks that she's filling in here until you get to all recipes. And then that's the normal loop of here's just the latest.
The price per serving is so interesting to me.
That's pretty custom.
Complex, yeah.
Yeah. It's not super complex, but also like I've read Budget Bites and like how she calculates it. And it like it just sounds so complicated. Not from a development side, but just like a tracking of everything.
This is coming from the same woman who was trying to click the time button. Would I somehow try to increase or decrease my cost per serving? Probably.
Yeah. Eden, I had to go search for this site. You know how I searched for it? I searched crispy smashed potatoes and I looked through like 12 sites. And I was like, I know I've seen this site before. I've seen this particular feature. And I could not remember where. Oh, I finally found it. Here it is. I found it. So we'd have to create something special for this, particularly because this is a menu, and menus are probably one of the least forgiving blocks in WordPress core themes now. So inside of a block theme, I feel like menu is one of the like least fun to work with. So what I would probably do instead of this, I would use icons. You're fine, Eden. I just wanted to tease you. I would probably like, if someone said this to me and they were like, I really like this feature, I'd first ask, like, is it the dropdown you like? Is it the icon you like? Like, is it the navigation? Like, what aspects of it, to try and figure that out. And then I would play with other ways to accomplish something like this. So for one, I would potentially just do like buttons. So I would do an icon. This is assuming I only need to look at one at a time. Like maybe I would do like season on the left and then like a row of icons on the right. Not a row of buttons. A row of buttons on the right. And so if I only needed to do like one, I would do like icon with like buttons. If it was more about like the icons, I'm like, great, I'll just have icons. And if they click on it, I'll send them to another page that's a specific landing page for navigating them through the seasons or through courses or whatever. So that's like, see, this site actually has recipes/courses. And then they help you navigate through those courses. So instead of just being like, here's all of the latest recipes because they belong to some child category of some course, there's actually like, here are the different courses that we offer. And this one's super straightforward, right? So I would just send them directly to the season page or directly to the course page. That way I get the icon, I have those relevant links for how they're trying to browse, but I just skip the drop downs. Those would probably be my two main suggestions for how I would do something like this. But I kind of like the add icons, send them to a landing page the most.
Yeah, that's my preference.
And then what I can do, I'm not going to remember to do all of these. So you guys are going to have to remind me like, hey, can you make this block before you're done? But like this would just be like one block I could make where like search is on the left and 4 icons with titles are on the right. And I wouldn't do the drop downs, but like you could send them to those landing pages. And this would, you could insert this at the top of all the pages if you want. Fun story, guys. Kathy sent me Modern Proper as inspiration for like a previous site design. And I went a little overboard and she was like, too Modern Proper, Lauren. Too far. Recipe filters. What time is it? It's okay. It's 3:22. I can rant on this forever. Okay, recipe filters. I know, Jessica, you said you don't love filters, maybe just in that case, or maybe at all. Kathy asked, why no recipe filters? I do have a lot of clients that ask for filters, and then I have to have the conversation I'm going to have with you guys on it. So recipe filters are just like a little more complicated in general. And we can include a template for this. You do need a paid plugin for it called Facet WP. That's the one that I recommend. It's got a lot of performance optimizations in it. And also, I've used it for years and their support is so nice to me. So I really like them. I write in a lot and I'm like, guys, why is this not working? But there are some important considerations for it. So first of all, a lot of it, not maybe a lot, certain SEOs used to really not like it because if you go to like appetizers, they're not going to a new URL. There's nothing additional. Like there's no custom URL with landing content. Google doesn't like see different content. Like they don't see the interactions with this essentially. So from an SEO perspective, like they prefer to see categories that have like landing pages that you build out for them, that you're curating a path for your users through your best content instead of just being like, good luck going through all of my content. So in that regard, We don't recommend that people just have a recipe filter. However, plenty of people like to also have a recipe filter. And so we will set up recipe filters for clients. We just typically recommend that they also have a recipe index that's more traditional, or that like for their homepage or something like that has a lot of links to categories, very easy ways for them to get to category landing pages and for Google to see category landing pages. But I do think that there is a benefit to having filter functionality like this, which is that I can say I specifically want gluten-free appetizers. And depending on your audience, this might be really relevant for them. If you don't have an audience that's looking for, like, let's say you have 100 posts, you probably don't have enough overlap in your categories to make this worth it. Let's say that you don't categorize any of your posts by diet. You probably don't have a ton of people that really need to see like Christmas specific appetizers. And so it doesn't make sense for everyone's audience to do this. But if it does make sense for your audience, it's definitely possible. And I would just recommend that we do it as a separate, like a secondary page. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how it's done. It's done with the recipe plugin. You can see that it edits your URL, but it's not creating a new URL because everything comes after this question mark. And so this doesn't get cached. So performance, theoretically not as good, especially if they're coming directly to something that you're already setting. Like if they're coming directly to recipe index, this page, this is cached. So it'll load really quick. But then if you send them to anything with this query string, going to take a little bit longer. I don't know if you guys could really notice that. And that's I'm like plugged into Ethernet right now. That probably doesn't matter to us, but it's going to matter to some people. People on their phone, people in other countries, caching things. I would not do it on category pages like this because it relies on JavaScript. So it's adding just a lot of like overhead to these categories. I mean, that'll depend on like, yes, you could optimize for it, but like, do we want to add that unnecessary layer? I don't think so. So I usually don't recommend filtering on a category landing page, but I will do a recipe index if people want it. I want to show one of the recipe indexes that we've done. Okay, so this is Fit Mitten Kitchen. She's on a block theme. This is her recipe index set up. Recipe indexes on mobile, not as nice. So we can collapse these by default. Like I could say that I want these two to stay open and these to be collapsed, but I just feel like the user experience leaves a lot to be desired. Hannah,
Look at your site. When you click that triangle, it just works so nicely.
That's because the triangle indicates drop down. Yeah, this one, the triangle means something. So I just like recipe filters. I do like them. I think they're useful for certain audiences, but I also think use them with caution. Because on a smaller screen, like this is pretty long right now, but like whenever I select something, I have to scroll back down and I'm like, oh, actually, I want vegetarian breakfast. I don't know. You guys can come to your own conclusions on whether you like it or not. I think it's useful, but I like actually like landing pages more because you can put your best content forward.
Okay, I'm pulling this comment up because it's pretty good. Jessica says, I like mine, but I wish people could select more than one category and then hit enter, if that makes sense. Which is what you're doing on Ashley's.
Why can I not type?
Fit Mitten Kitchen, right? Okay, you're looking at this one.
Food recipe index. Okay, so you do want them to be able to select multiples of these. So this is essentially, so what you have, Jessica, is a menu. Like this is what I would recommend in most cases, is a menu where they go to something. But if you want them to be able to select like poultry grilling recipes that overlap, then for them to be able to choose that, you would need a recipe filter like this. So you would need for them to be able to do those check boxes to like choose what they want. Now, you do have other options that you could work with. If you don't have a ton of overlap between poultry and grilling, then you could come into your category and you could create one of these loops, could be like chicken grilling recipes, query loop, and then specifically say that you want to filter categories that are both, I don't know what categories we added, chicken.
There might be a grill. Yeah.
We've got chicken grilling recipes. Okay, by default, this is such a good example. By default, this is pulling recipes that are chicken or grilling. And so that's why we have this handy dandy small plugin that says overlap. And so now I can say, okay, I only want recipes that are both chicken and grilling. And you can see we only have 2 that happen to be in that on our site, fake site. But you would be able to now like curate that experience on a landing page. And if you had 4 top ones, you could choose those manually by using selective posts. But you could just like pull them in automatically as well. That way the latest ones show up. That query loop, yes, your best friend. That may not be helpful if you have like 50 overlapping. Like if you categorize everything by diet and you want to see vegetarian breakfast, like that might not work. That might be where you really need to do some sort of filter like this. Technically, we could also create a page. If you found that you had so many people that are looking for a certain overlap, you don't have to use a category. We could take all of these blocks, put them onto a new page, and then call this page chicken grilling recipes. And then this block that I have, I mean, this is a little bit of an extreme example, but then I could say like query loop. It actually gets a little bit harder, but let's say you have, you want to show 4,000. It'll let us do up to 100. Could show 100 on a page of that overlap. I don't think I'd recommend that. I'd recommend the filter, the category page, and then probably just creating a new category that manually adds them, probably. But you could do it. And it probably doesn't really matter if you did the page instead of one of the other options, depending on how many of these pages you're creating and how much you have to maintain over time.
Lauren has worked a lot in content management in the past. Can you guys tell?
Right. Ask me how many sites I've had to help them manage content.
Oh.
And, like, we're reorganizing categories and like we've got 50 pages and we need to turn them into categories and stuff like that. It's not like, I feel like the biggest thing I've learned is that it's all fine. It's going to be okay. The second biggest thing I've learned is that it's better to have something like this that you can like teach and the average person can learn than something that requires a developer.
Yeah.
Because this
no
isn't
one wants
like
to wait for Lauren.
Yeah, I understand that this isn't like super intuitive initially, but like more and more people are going to use this and it is going to become intuitive. And we're going to be able to have like lower cost help for something that previously would have been a really expensive developer. Are you calling us average? No, I'm calling you guys special because you guys have been hanging out with me. Actually, today, guys, I was like, man, we probably just need a retreat for us. Like at this point, we're hanging out for 10 days, 2 hours a day. Like can we just all go on a trip somewhere? Let's go do something. We're all best friends now.
Do we get matching shirts?
I would buy 1,000%. I would buy shirts for us, and we would go out in them. Like,
Great, great,
I
great.
don't. We can't do like Feature Fest Squad because it's just like too nerdy. But like, would I get us some sort of like? There'd just be some sort of like bestie shirt, and people would just be like, "How did you meet?" And we would say we all hung out on webinar type stuff 10 days in a row.
Yep.
And then we decided that we needed a vacation because we've been working too hard.
Mhm. All right, we're going somewhere warm. Laura's in, Kathy's in, Christopher's in. That's the whole Eden, where are you at?
Eden's like, I'm not traveling with these crazies. You know what? Fair enough. Okay. Do we have questions? I actually feel like I have just like rambled on today.
It's been so informative. I've learned so much.
Thank you for saying so. I don't know what it is about today, but I'm like, am I boring everyone today? Yes,
Eden's
Eden's
ready.
coming.
Flights are getting booked. Can't wait.
Okay, can we do like all-inclusive Cancun? I
Yep.
hear people love it and I haven't been.
I'm down. I've never been.
Same. All right, questions, guys. It's 3:30. Tequila shots all around. That sounds fun.
I like to say I don't drink tequila, but Christopher makes a mean mango margarita.
Yes. Christopher will come and make mango margs.
Mhm.
Jessica, I need to message you later because you sent out the email about how you guys make your chai at home, and I want to know how you make your chai. Your post says that you use a specific brand, but do you sweeten it at all? Is it just like good enough for you? How much milk do you put in it? What milk do you use? Okay, can we read this up? Category archive. Yeah. Versus landing page thing. I remember something about redirects, but also that it, yes. Okay, cool. So at the beginning, I was talking about different ways that we had done categories in the past. And I think I want to just like pull up. Let's close all these tabs, guys. We surely don't need any of them.
She's gonna need one immediately.
Immediately. No, I want to be in pages right where I was.
Honey and vanilla almond milk.
Ooh, okay. I have almond milk, but I have unsweetened original. I'll just add a little vanilla, right? Okay. Right. So here's an example of like American recipes. We created a page for this, and in the past, like this would have had landing content goes here, right? And in the past, we would have had American recipes, and this was a page. Let's change this so that it's easier to understand. 30-minute recipes. And then we need this to be 30-minute recipes. Cool. And then category. Okay. So in the past, this would have been our category, like our landing page. We would have had all of our landing page for our category here. But by default, this category would have just like started here. And we'd have this URL and it would have listed all of our pages, all of the posts that belong to that category. But because we couldn't customize this page and we did want a landing page, we would have taken this URL and we would have redirected it to this URL. So anyone that was trying to get to our category page would have gone to our landing page. And this was fine. But we had an unnecessary redirect for something that like was built in. So like if someone in your breadcrumbs here, like if they were on a post, let's see if this will work. Of course not. All right. My breadcrumbs are not set up correctly. But if they were on a post and they clicked on the category up here that said 30-minute meals, it would take them to this category, which would redirect them to this page. So that's what I mean by like an unnecessary redirect, because there's already a link that like works to go to the category page, which is this URL. But because we couldn't do anything that we wanted to with this URL without paying for like a custom theme, we would redirect them to this URL. And so we'd have that unnecessary redirect. We'd have like not really competing content because Google would see that we were doing the redirect, but we'd have to like create our own page over here. So now inside of block themes, because you can actually come in and edit this template and you can add all of your landing content above it, you no longer need to do any of these pages. And so I don't have to have like, I would see, so, you know, I have 12 because I'm running tests here right now, but like I would see people that had like 70 pages and most of those were categories. And it was pretty hard for them to organize that content because some of their pages, like some of their pages were their about page or their start here or cookbook or landing page, whatever. And then they'd also have all their categories. And it was just like so hard to manage and figure out and edit and see what was there, right? And so now we don't have to do that. Pages are just pages. And we can get rid of all of the custom categories that we like made fake pages for. And we can just use these default archives again. Now, if you did use custom pages in the past, then when you delete those, you would have to redirect these pages to the categories. And that's just because like anyone, like we have to tell Google like, hey, we're moving content back over. So we would delete the old redirects that send categories to pages, but we would add new redirects that send pages to categories. And that's probably way more confusing than necessary. But the purpose of that would be to tell Google, hey, we've moved back to our category pages. And then if anyone has saved a link to a category page for us, which used to happen a lot on Pinterest, like 10 years ago. Remember when like category pages weren't grids? They weren't a grid like this. They were like literally like a post, like your full post. And then you scroll down and it was like your full post again. And like the next full post. When that was the case, people used to pin category pages a lot. So if you have an older site and they were pinning a category page, something like that, you would want to make sure they're getting to the correct place. So sometimes redirects are for our users. Sometimes redirects are for SEO. Often they're both. But this is a little off topic, but if you delete a category, like if you had a page for 30-minute meals and you decide you're not going to keep that category, you don't need to set up a redirect to a different category. Like Google Search Console will tell you, hey, there's a 404, but it's just informing you so that you're aware. If you don't have something relevant to link it to, just leave the 404. It's fine. Only if you had like a really, like maybe you have 20-minute meals now, you can redirect 30-minute meals to 20-minute meals. Like that would make sense.
You shaved the time down. Thanks.
Just for you, Hannah.
After my heart.
I don't know why this bothers you. You don't really make food from recipes. You have like your family recipes and your husband.
Did you see my category that was microwave meals? I've been waiting to be called out about that.
No, I did not. I'm going to look for that category. Eden, will you tell me if that answered your question or if I've added any new questions as a result of my explanation? Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Microwave meals. Did you make these up just on the spot?
Yes.
I think Christopher did the shop, but I think I saw him using ChatGPT. Or maybe he like exported these from someone else's site. Are we going to find out these are all Kathy's affiliate links?
Their easiest party ever. And we're about to blow up from our $1 a month. He told me, best of luck. So excited. Much wow.
Much wow. There's no way these things are from easiest party ever, or he changed it.
It's from our account.
Okay. Other questions? What do we go over next? category pages, single post.
Mm.
So single post tomorrow, that will be, I think I'll probably ask you guys for feedback about that after this call tonight. When you go into a post, this like section here, we'll need to make something that we think looks nice that goes at the top. And then we'll probably talk about some SEO stuff, like these dates. We'll probably talk about the dates. We already talked a little bit about the author. I went on a little bit of a tirade there. Tirade's extreme. Anyway, we'll probably talk about some of the SEO stuff of this, but we'll definitely need to figure out what we want to style this like, and then we'll style this section. And we could probably do, if you guys have preferences, we could probably style 2 different post headers that would be options. And then you would, like, you guys know how to go in and edit your template. And so you'd be able to remove one and put in the pattern for the other one if you prefer. I mean, I know we still have to go over patterns, but that's Tuesday. Easy.
Can we include fun blocks? Will there be a save this recipe and a shop this post and recipe tips we've already made?
That's a good idea. We've made some blocks, so we can make more. So we can do more like specifically for in post, or we'll probably modify some of the ones that we created for landing pages to fit inside of a post. So we'll probably do some of that. We will probably look at some of the plugins. I have a whole day dedicated to plugins, but plugins are going to be one of the harder things too.
That will
So
not be
maybe we'll probably do some plugin information where we talk about the limitations of a lot of plugins because they're not built for block themes yet. So either finding a block theme plugin or doing what we can with the existing ones. So maybe we'll work in some of the plugins that are post specific. Such as the table of contents, because I know that's been on Jessica's list. And then as far as like save this recipe and automatic block inserter,
Shop this post.
shop this post, easy. That one's easy.
Okay.
Save this recipe. We could probably have a 20-minute discussion on that one, guys. On all the ways it can be done.
4 blog posts with
Yeah.
multiple.
I'm like, maybe we shouldn't.
Please watch the evolution of this.
Best Brussels sprouts. I feel like that was this one, but I don't know how we got to Brussels sprouts. Here we go. Probably this one.
Okay.
Oops, sorry. So I've recreated that. I think we've been editing it though, so I don't know what it looks like. A little different. In progress.
Yes. I love a good yes.
Yeah, we can play with this. Let me see real quick what we did for what we're doing for Kylie Cooks to see if that would be another one to look at. Basically, Aaron's is a good one that's like fun because I like these full width ones. Oh, we kept Kylie's full width as well. I have someone somewhere that has one that's not full width. So see, like it's inside of this content area, but it still looks nice. So maybe I'll look around and see if I can find who has. So yeah, like Brittany has hers where she has her sidebar higher. She doesn't have that full width section. It goes into her content a little bit sooner. So we could do like one of each if we wanted. So we could do that.
Cool.
Let's do a call for feedback where we ask what people want to create for the single post. So I can prep a little bit tomorrow morning. Okay. I think we're good to wrap up then.
Thank you guys for coming on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. Look, I figured out how to stop sharing, guys.
And you can read comments today. I felt so bad interrupting nonstop yesterday, reading those comments.
Yeah. It is nice to have the comments. It's nice to like see you guys too. It feels like less like I'm just like saying things to the
Yelling into the
internet.
abyss.
The abyss. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Thanks for spending your Sunday with us, you guys, for real.
And we'll be back tomorrow, but we'll ask y'all for feedback. So prep your homework. We'll be looking on Facebook in the group.
Bye, guys.
Bye.